but I did almost pass out a few times. So
So it's so nice to welcome Meghan Suri to Showbiz India. You look gorgeous.
oh, as do you. Thank you so much for having me, Rishma.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Now, in a very young age, you've done quite a bit of work already, but of course, this is a completely different genre. Tell me about your experience.
Absolutely. It was the greatest challenge of my career thus far. It was amazing working with a director like Vishal Datta, who I'm constantly blown away by his genius. It was the most fun I've ever had. It was the most challenging work I've ever done, but it was also just altogether the most gratifying experience I've had because I was able to um, delve into such a complex character that had so many different emotions and being able to express those emotions through different avenues.
So tell me about that, delving into a character with so many layers. How did you prepare for this challenging role?
So luckily for me, I mean, I already had a pretty good understanding of Sam and Samita's feelings, just simply having just transparently have already lived part of that life when I was Sam's age. But working in Visual prior to us going to set and working, we spent a lot of time during prep having very extensive conversations about the character work, about Sam, about Samita, about her relationships. And so I really felt super equipped and prepared and really knew who Sam was before I stepped onto set, which I think gave me the freedom to be able to play and explore.
So taking you back to the time you were in high school, tell me about your experiences, and did you experience that isolation of the Indian culture and then re-embrace it? What was your experience?
Absolutely. So I think that, it's interesting. I was born in the US, but I did live in India for 2.5 years when I was about, I want to say 5 years old or so. And so I kind of experienced Sam's shame and an understanding of isolation a bit earlier on in life. Of when I came back to the States, I had already been sort of indoctrinated with certain school behaviors that only happen in India. And I remember kids looking at me like I was weird. And it was very apparent that I was the outsider, not by the color of my skin or by my name, but it was because I was just doing things that were not American, quote unquote. And I very quickly had to learn how to adjust and how to assimilate. And so those themes were very real in my life growing up. And I think throughout high school, I was very much so in my Sam mode. And my Sam mode is just I'm cruising. We're not making my identity a topic of discussion. This is who I am, but it was never something that I openly displayed or openly talked about. I was definitely harboring feelings of embarrassment. And I think that overall acceptance came a little bit later on in life. And we see that in Sam's circumstance, but hers is just slightly more expedited in the sort of course of a movie.
We do work with the California State Library to combat hate crimes. And actually, that's a very good point you brought up, because there's a lot of hate slander and hate crimes against Indians in high school, even right now. What would you say to the young people out there who are so conflicted about their Indian culture and having to adapt at the same time?
Wow. I mean, I can certainly only speak from my personal experience, and that's hopefully what I hope movies like this are able to offer, as well as just seeing that we are worthy enough to be in mainstream media. So, I would say that those feelings and those tumultuous feelings of feeling misunderstood, feeling frustrated, and feeling confused, those are all normal feelings, and it's okay to feel that way. And you don't have to know the answers. I think the answers will come along, but there is beauty and there is strength in owning who you are, and there's real pride to be taken in that. And that can only come, I really truly think, either through seeing that being represented through media or really through life experience. So just know that your journey will be very personal to you, but you don't have to be on anyone's time other than your own.
Tell me about the most challenging part of the film for you.
You know, leading a film comes with a lot of pressure, but funny enough, the most amount of anxiety I faced in doing this part was really just the screams. I don't normally scream very often, and you can't really practice that. It was like, wow, I'm gonna scream for the first time on set in front of 40 people and hope that it's good enough for them to want to move on to the next scene. And certainly after hearing Mohana Krishnan, who plays our lovely Tamira in the movie, her screams are incredible. And I remember hearing them on day 2 of filming, and it was very real to me how I needed to bring my A game when it came to the screams, because Mohana was not playing. So yeah, it's a really generic answer, but for me, the most anxiety I felt was, oh my gosh, today I'm gonna have to scream. I'm gonna have to do this. But it's also incredibly cathartic and therapeutic in its own right. So now I'm happy to scream, and I can do it with ease.
Oh, well, I'm not going to ask you to scream as well, too.
Actually, I regretted saying that. I was like, God, I hope she doesn't ask me to do it.
No,
but I can. No. I can.
But did you get a throat ache afterwards?
I didn't have a throat ache, unfortunately, which is weird because I actually like losing my voice. I think I sound cool when my voice is lost, but I did almost pass out a few times. So maybe me and screaming aren't meant to be.